a couple of you have been requesting an updated how I trim my hair. So I have 3 ways that I trim my hair. I'm going to be showing you the way that I've been doing it for a couple of months now. So the 3 ways that I trim my hair is, 1, I do the diva cut, which is when the hair is dry with no product. Sometimes I do it wet with product because it helps me to identify each individual curl. But with the diva cut, you just go through and your hair, you let it fall how it would naturally fall. So like, even though I'm about to wash my hair and this is an old twist out, my hair pretty much always falls in this manner. As you can see, it's cut more like this, which is pretty much how your hair is going to wind up looking if you do like a diva cut type trim. And it's always going to be like more top heavy. So with the diva cut type haircut, what you do is you go through and you trim individual sections like this. And I trim my hair every 6 to 8 weeks. I have always trimmed my hair every 6 to 8 weeks ever since I was a teenager, around like 12 years old when I started taking care of my hair. And my hair was natural at that time. So my whole life, I pretty much have trimmed my hair every 6 to 8 weeks. It works for me. Not everybody does that. But when I do trim my hair, I'm usually just dusting the ends. I usually can tell which parts have, grown out because they look, kind of scraggly and disheveled. And so I just grab them and I just cut off that little piece right there. And it's that simple. Now, the second way that I cut my hair is actually, I like to do this when I do my wash and goes and when I have gel in my hair, because when I do my wash and goes, that is going to be, pretty much as natural as my curls can get, because I don't use a lot of product when I do my wash and goes. So when I have my hair in a wash and go, let's just pretend this is a wash and go right now. And like, maybe one day I'll put up a video and show you guys exactly how I do this, because I do this I do once every 6 months. Because if you do it wrong, you can wind up cutting off a lot of your hair. But say this is a wash and go. Right here, I want it to have this shape. So even though I can go through and cut each individual curl, sometimes it still doesn't have the shape, like it's grown out. So I'll get the scissors and I just go and just cut all the way around. And I just cut. And I look at the back and I just cut. And I do the same thing on this side. You can see how it's already, cut in that shape. So I just go all the way up and I just cut. And I've been doing that ever since I had a TWA. It works for me because I like to have like a natural shaped fro. So that's how I do it. Now, the method that I'm going to be doing today is the quickest method. And this one is really good for just getting rid of single strand knots and then kind of just, getting on with your day. I don't always want to spend 2 or 3 hours, cutting each individual strand. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to grab sections and I'm just going to smooth out the hair as best as I can. And when you do this, it works really well if you put conditioner, like just a little light leave-in conditioner on your hair, and it'll make the hair more pliable. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm about to go wash my hair, but basically this is what I do. And I pull the hair all the way down to a point, because as your hair grows out, you can tell if it's not healthy and if it's damaged, because it should be thick all the way down. So a telltale sign of when you need to trim is when that hair starts getting really thin down here. So what I do is, since I cut my hair every 6 to 8 weeks, I always just trim just a little bit. So let me get closer. So as you can see, I'm just going to cut this little piece. That's where all my single strand knots are, and I have just eliminated them. And now that hair is cut. So this section is done, and I just go through and I do that for each section. Some sections are worse than others. There are areas of my hair that get more single strand knots than other sections. I always try to pull the hair out in the most natural way that it's going to fall. So for me, I've noticed that a lot of times if I pull it straight out like this is how I get the most natural results. And you see that little bit of hair right there hanging down. That's what I'm going to cut. This is all that I've cut so far, is that little bit. Now over here, I told you guys that I usually trim, I shape this area. So this area is always going to be a little bit different. I'm always going to pull this area straight out and cut it at an angle because that's how it's been shaped. So I'm going to pull it all the way down to the smallest point where it starts to get thin and frayed, and I'm going to cut that off. So the front I try to be very careful with because I don't want it to fall at a weird angle. So usually when I cut the front, I cut the smallest amount off of the front and I wait until it is curly, and then I go in and I look at it a second time. The front usually grows a lot slower than the rest of my hair, so I usually don't have to cut very much off, and I don't have to cut it very often. So once I do my wash and go, I can go back in, and while it's curly, I'll cut each individual curl because this part is kind of weird and I need it to fall kind of like this. So I'll go back in and I'll cut it like that. So that is pretty much how I trim my hair, and those are the three methods. I recently shaped my hair probably within the last 6 months, so the next time that I need to shape it, I'll film it so that you guys can see what I mean. But if any of you have ever been to like an old school barbershop, it's pretty much the same thing that they do there. So anyway guys, I hope that you all enjoyed the video and have a great week. Check out my length check. The link will be in the description box.